Now we know about the concept of planning process, the importance of planning in organization, the characteristics of planning and the steps involved in planning process. Now in this section we will see about the levels of planning. That is, like the level of management is divided into three. We have three levels for planning also, and we'll see a very important process in planning, that is the MBO. So these two things we'll be discussing in this particular section. Now coming to the levels of planning. We now know about the level of management, isn't it? Usually for large enterprises, unlike the small one, we'll be commonly having three levels of management: top level, middle level, lower level. Similarly, we'll be having three levels for planning also. Okay, so in a triangular form we have represented this plans, that is the strategical plans, tactical plan and operational plans. So the top level, who are the top level management? They may be the CEO, the board of directors or the actual governing bodies. Okay, so they may be making the plans which are strategical, that is, usually they are the ones which are setting the long term plans. So these plans are made for a time span of say 2 to 5 years or more than that. The minimum span is 2 years. Okay, so these strategical plans, they are the long term plans concerning an organization made for a longer span, and they are going to set what do you mean by strategical plan? These long plans are setting of, it can be the vision, mission, objectives, goals, etc. Okay, so understanding why and when these plans are making by the top level management is important. Example is written policy making. We know that policy is a what type of plan? A long term plan made by the top level management. The policies, rules, all those things are set only by the top level management. So they can also be called as strategical plan. Next, we have the tactical plan set by the middle level manager. For example, what is the procedure to be carried out? Okay, how organization of different departments is to be done to support these basic strategical plans. So tactical plans are made to further support the strategical plan, and these plans, they may be having a lesser time duration. It can be for a period of say 1 to 2 years. So the time span is lesser than the strategical plan. Example, a procedure. Okay, what procedure must be followed? And it is taking place where? Mainly in the case of the middle level. It can be the heads of functional department. Okay, so where and the resources should be allocated, where the resources and all the people should be made. Okay, the staff or resources. So organization, we know it is a most important function performed by the middle level management rather than the planning or coordinating. The middle level managers more, they will be concentrating on the organizing function. So where you have to arrange all these staff or resources for achievement or for supporting the basic strategical plan set by the top level management. They are helping this top level management for a time span of say 1 to 2 years. The lower level management, they are actually concerned with the execution. We know that lower level managers, they are having the technical skills more than these managers. They are responsible for the day-to-day operations taking place in enterprise. So their plans are also called as operations plans, and it may be having lesser time duration than the tactical plan. They will support these tactical plans set by the middle level management. So what are the activities which should be carried out? What actions are to be actually performed? It can be a training given, it can be solving the conflicts of workers, it can be the day-to-day activities of what transportation may be required, okay, for the delivery of a particular raw material. So all such activities are taken care by the lower level management. Example is the execution. Okay, so generally, like the three level of management, there are three level of planning. So when asked to explain, you can give this figure and state also about the time period and make sure to give the examples. Now we come to the MBO process in planning, that is managing by objectives. So the question can be explain the MBO process. Now we should understand it is a management by objectives. So even though the title and the definition states it from the side of manager, it is equally involved with the workers also. It is going to benefit both the manager as well as the worker. It is a popular management technique for the appraisal of managerial performance, popularized by the renowned management thinker Peter R. Drucker in his book Practices of Management in 1954. So this concept was brought by Peter. It aims at ensuring active employee involvement in planning. That is, as a manager, we are now going to involve our workers fully in the complete process. That is, first of all, they are involved in setting of objectives. They are also being involved in identifying the goals. So what is the advantage? They are clear of the objectives. They know what they are supposed to perform. So they will list their individual responsibilities. They are also involved in the decision making. That is, they are setting the goals, they are being aware of what is their individual responsibility, and later they can assess their own performance. So along with the manager, they are also being involved in their own assessment. So it improves their capability in doing a work, or they are positively motivated towards their work. It is a comprehensive managerial system that integrates many key managerial activities in a systematic manner and is consciously directed towards the effective and efficient achievement of organizational and individual objectives. That is important. So managerial function is incorporated along with the workers. Okay, so the individual objectives are given important. So in short, or in a simple manner, how can you understand what is MPO? It is a joint process by which a superior as well as a subordinate, they are going to collectively come together, set the objectives, okay, and list their own responsibilities, and finally assess their own performance. So it is a joint venture. MBO is a joint venture. So when you are asked to explain about the MBO process, make sure to give this particular block diagram. If you explain using this block diagram only, it will be more clear. As you can see in the MBA process, setting of organization goal is not done by superior alone. It is divided into two branches. That is, it is set by both the superior as well as the subordinate. The superior set goal for his subordinates and the subordinate proposes goals for his job. So after setting the main goal by the superior, a subordinate also gets involved in it, and he is going to propose the goals for his job, that is for achievement of the final objective. What are his individual responsibility, or what are his individual objectives for this achievement of final goal? And then there will be a joint agreement on the subordinate's goal, after which only the plans are being implemented, or that is the implementation of plans. And finally there will be the monitoring of the progress which will be done, and then evaluation of the performance. This evaluation of the performance will also be done by the subordinates along with the superior. The feedback will be provided again to set the organizational goals further. Okay, so it is a joint venture by both the superior and the subordinate. The subordinate is now clear of what job he has to perform for the achievement of final objectives, and he can also assess the work which we have performed because there is a clear plan in the MBO process. And finally, on the feedback provided by the superior, a subordinate has no confusion. He is also clear in setting the goals further. Okay, so this explains the MBO process. So the features of MBO process, we might have already understood about it. The superior subordinate participation, as already explained. Joint goal setting, that is the actual goal set by the superior, subordinate involved, and the individual goal or the individual responsibility to achieve the goal is set by the superior itself. So it is a joint goal setting. Joint decision on methodology, that is MBO focuses on what is to be achieved as well as how is it to be achieved. That is, a superior and subordinate, they together make a decision on how to achieve this objectives, or what is to be achieved is clear in this particular process. Makes way to attain maximum result. That is always a subordinate. They have the freedom in order to make the decision on their own capability. Okay, so the creative ideas or the innovative idea from the side of subordinate is encouraged maximum. That is, the support from the superior is always there so as to attain the maximum result. So if a problem arises also, a subordinate has the right to make his own opinion so as to achieve a maximum result. So these are certain features of the MBO process which we already understood by the means of the figure and the process of MBO. We could guess the advantages of MBO by the understanding of MBO process. It develop a result-oriented philosophy. The subordinate as well as the manager, they are clear of what is to be achieved. That is, the end results are very much clear in the MBO process. Formulation of achievable goals. We are going to have realistic diagnosis and setting of realistic objectives. Okay, it is not simply made in vacuum. We are going to actually make a realistic objective. So the achievable goals are only made in the case of MBO, which should be achieved. Okay, there should not be any deviation from the plans made in MBO. Better understanding between superior and subordinate. So the subordinate, they are more committed to the work if they are being involved in the MBO process. Their commitment arises. So what happens is that there will be more profit for the organization. Why? Because the superior and the subordinate communication is more. Okay, if the communication is clear, then there will not be any deviation from the plan. Proper controlling can be achieved by the manager. So it is improving the employee morale because they are now clear what their individual action or what their individual responsibility is. They are more committed, so they are not going to indulge in other work. It improves employee morale. It facilitates effective planning. That is, if there is any deviation also in the next time, it could be corrected. That is, it effective planning can be obtained. It acts as a motivational force, obviously concerning the human or the emotional factors. The workers are getting more satisfaction, so they are more motivated towards their work. So both from the side of manager and from the side of the worker, they are having a feeling that both should stand together. Okay, both the manager and the worker, the concerning the human emotions, it is going to act as a motivational force. Facilitates effective control. So control is very important in the planning process. So it is going to facilitate effective control for the workers. Okay, so they are not going to get hurt when the managers are going to control them because they are also involved in the MBO process. So these are the certain advantages of the MBO process. Now, even though the advantages of MBO are going to outweigh the limitation, we have to also state or understand there may be some possible limitations of MBO. First one is regarding the inflexibility. That is, some managers, they may be following a very rigid pattern in following the MBO process. Okay, so that is the first limitation. Second limitation is the lack of top management support. That is always the top management people, they may be sometimes very much narrow minded. They may not much like the involvement of the workers always. So sometimes there may be a lack of the support from the top management. Difficulty in setting realistic and meaningful objectives. That is, it is not possible for all areas of enterprise. In some certain cases of job or in certain cases of areas of management, there may be difficulty in setting these meaningful objectives. See, all the jobs are not highly structured. There may be a new project or a new undertaking taken by the enterprise. So in such cases, it is difficult to follow this MBO process. That is what is stated. Do not address the importance of obstacles or constraint. In the block diagram, you have seen that there is no concern regarding the external environment or what could the possible obstacles which may arise in planning. So it does not address such things. Lack of understanding the philosophy behind the MBO. All employees, they may not be willing to come forward for the MBO process. That is, certain person, they may also regard it as a lack of freedom. That is, their freedom is going if they are going to always involve with their superior. Okay, some persons, they may like to work on their own. Okay, they may just like to hear the instruction and do their work in a conventional manner. They may not be liking to incorporate always with the superior. Similarly, the superior also, they may not be liking the involvement of workers always. So that is a lack of top management support. So these are some of the limitations of the MBO process. So by now we have understood about the levels of planning, that is the 3 level, and the process of MBO, its features, the block diagram, advantages and limitations in this section.